we are the biggest supply retailer for beauty here in Mexico. We are more than 300 stores in Latin America. The first issue or challenge that we had in the past is the stock availability. The second challenge that we approached it was the S&OP.
This video is brought to you by us, SCMDOJO. We provide awesome courses, guides, best practices for supply chain community.
Hi folks, welcome to one more episode of Supply Chain Show. Today I'm going to talk about almost like a case study discussion from one of the leading supply chain professionals in Mexico. Right now I'm in Riviera Maya attending the C12 conference, and I thought it's a great opportunity to talk to Ricardo Pérez, right? He's the supply chain director of one of the biggest retailers in Mexico and Latin America, right? So we're going to talk about his experience of a transformation, so we can all learn from it, especially from the regional perspective. What are the challenges and how he has reduced inventory, improved customer service, reduced lead time, and developed people. Ricardo, thank you for joining.
Great.
So let's introduce yourself and your job profile and what company you're working for.
Thank you, Matt, for the opportunity to talk in your supply chain show. Well, I'm Ricardo Pérez. I'm supply chain director for Latin America. I'm more than 15 years of experience in supply chain retail, transportation, and manufacturing companies. So, regarding your question, well, there are several steps that you must follow in order to approach the problems.
So before we do that, explain your company structure, right? Because you are a big retailer. Tell about that first.
Okay, we are the biggest supply retailer for beauty here in Mexico, and also we have in Latin America for Mexico, Chile, and Peru. That's the structure, and I am responsible for all the supply chain operation through the vendor until the stores.
Until the stores,
yeah.
But not after delivery, not from shipment from stores, right? The store means retail shops.
Retail, yeah.
Retail shops. Oh, okay, that's great. How big is your top line in dollars?
I can say that information, but we are more than 300 stores in Latin America.
Wow, 300 stores.
Yeah.
Okay, because I've seen your interesting profile where you have, really transformed the supply chain, right? So first tell about the problem when you started and what process steps and you have taken to get to the results where you want to get to.
Yeah, the first issue or challenge that we had in the past is the stock availability.
Right.
So we analyzed the problem and the stock availability at the stores and the distribution center. So we developed a plan, like an inventory policy, that are several rules that you must follow, like minimum, maximum of purchase order, and considering an algorithm and with lead times. Yeah, so that's the first step that we follow. Develop an inventory policy and a new algorithm in order to increase the stock availability. The second challenge that we approached it was the S&OP. Yeah, because the collaboration between departments is always a challenge in the company.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so S&OP or IBP are the best ways to fix that lack of communication.
Right.
So with the leading of supply chain in Mexico, we start to work with data analytics, with strategic and with the SKU level. So we collaborate with marketing, merchandising, finance people, sales people, of course, in order to get all the data together.
So when you're taking the data together, so how was the KPIs. So you mentioned something about inventory availability, which is improve the customer service level.
Yeah.
So what was your starting point? What was the baseline for that KPI? Like 60%, 80%?
92%.
That was the baseline.
Yeah.
And the target was?
The improvement was 97%.
97. So 5%, which is a big improvement.
Big improvement.
Really?
In
And
one year.
In 1 year. And the inventory was how much?
What?
Inventory levels?
Inventory levels, they went low,
Okay.
around 5 to 10%.
So inventory gone down by 5 to 10%, and at the same time you increase the availability or service levels from 90 to 97.
Yeah.
Great. And then generally what people say is, oh, you have to increase inventory to for customer service, and this is what I talk about. This is the beauty of S&OP, right?
Yeah.
That you have to do that. So the idea of S&OP is to achieve the customer service level while reducing inventory, while reducing lead time at the same time, right? And that's it. And that's a testament of a good supply chain planning.
Of course, and that's through the optimization of inventory. You don't need more only to buy more inventory just for you have to do. You must to optimize through all this inventory policy and S&OP plan.
Right. So, talking about one of the S&OP challenges, because I do, SCMDOJO, we have one of my leading courses is S&OP actually, and I train about 3,000 people. One of the challenges of S&OP is basically getting the buy-in from the executive team and also the cross-functional team, because people think S&OP is a supply chain process, but actually no, it's a cross-functional process, right?
Yeah.
Aligning the goals, bringing it into one target, so everybody talking about the same hymn sheet, right? So what was your challenges in deploying S&OP?
I have to say that the leadership and the collaboration between departments is the most tough part, because it's all about people.
Yeah.
You need the others' cooperation. The teamwork is a way to a different way to do the things. So if marketing or merchandising doesn't plan before, they must start to plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a challenge, because it's a really
Plan in
big
terms
change.
of promotions, anything seasonality wise, launching new products.
Launching new products. That's a big challenge.
Big challenge, right? And did you? So generally people say is, oh, let's buy a nice IBP S&OP software and do this. And I actually am against it. But I'm going to say to people, no, let's run your S&OP on Excel first. Make sure you get right collaboration for people, right roles and responsibilities. You can run your S&OP meetings correctly with the correct input and output.
Yeah.
Do that one first, do it in Excel, and then you can move to the fancy software. What was your approach?
Definitely, we did that.
You did that?
Yeah. In Excel file first,
Yeah.
and then it's like 1 year for testing.
Yes, right.
And then we develop with a BI tool.
BI tool, in Power BI.
Power BI.
That's excellent. So now, we're talking about, so you've been using this for about 18 months now, S&OP, IBP.
Yeah.
So we're talking about level of maturity, right? So when we talk about level of maturity in S&OP, then we say, okay, there's only one forecast, there's only one financial forecast, everybody looking into the same KPIs, not like finance guy have their own sales forecast, sales manager have their own, and supply chain own. So one of the things is you have one data set, you're running it correctly, and it's managed centrally through the same KPI. That is like, I would call it level 3 or maturity. So what's the status of your S&OP?
It's like level 3 or 4 is the final.
Yeah.
I think I would say level 3. We are putting all together and align our S&OP with the finance people and general director in order to achieve the correct service level and EBIT and sales, of course.
So you have a demand review, you have a supply review, you have executive review, you have a consensus review, do you have executive review?
Yeah.
So one of the challenges I've seen is not all executives buy in. They don't turn up to meetings because I don't know, it's maybe not good for them. And in businesses where this happens, S&OP dies. So what's the status of your company? I mean, the executives are buying in there because see, the success of S&OP is to identify gap closing actions, and then the executives make decisions. If that is happening, then S&OP will survive. If that doesn't happen, it will not survive.
Yeah.
What's the experience?
Yeah, the general director supports the initiative and collaborate with the team.
Yeah.
And of course, it's demanding. Maybe it's very typical. Demanding more. Oh, you have to more. Give me more sales or give me more EBIT. That's common. But the good thing with the S&OP is that you have the way to achieve that goals, because through promotion, through new launches, through a good supply chain, you must achieve that 1 point, 2 points that the general director is requesting.
Sure, that's great. So S&OP is one of the key process steps we follow, which results into reduction of inventory, improvement of on time, reduction of lead time, better availability in the store. But as you are one of those, I think, unique position that you are managing your own retail supply chain at the same time, right? Mm-hmm. So what kind of, let's call it, system integrations you have to really gather the demand data from point of sales? So what are you using?
Yeah, we are using Power BI tools in order to get the information. We use a lot of SQL too, and some reports that are bring to the table for the IT guys.
Yeah.
That extract the information from our point of sales.
Excellent. So I think the last point I want to move is the people development side, right? So once you go in as a leader, I think you have to identify the right people, the right roles and responsibilities to go through this transformation journey, right? Mm-hmm. So what are the, let's call it, key considerations as a leader? You said, you know what, I need to do this, this, and this with my people to go through them and deploy S&OP. So tell us about that part.
Okay, I said before that it's all about people. And that's because I think it's true. And I separate in 3 columns. Yeah. One column of the people is the customer. Yeah. The customer is very important. It's number 1. Yeah. You have to be focused at the customer needs, and listen to your customer. Yeah. Every time. The second one is your people, your crew in the supply chain team. You have to develop, you have to mentoring, you have to sponsor all the needs of training, of the tools, and to fulfill the own challenge, I think. And the third one is your peers. Mm-hmm. With the S&OP plan and with all the challenge that we have at the companies, you must to hear your peers and have a good communication with them. That's, I think, that's what
You're right. So you mentioned about mentoring and coaching of your people and giving the right sponsorship. How much time do you find intentionally to develop people? Or you just have a career conversation like randomly on a coffee table, or you intentionally find time to develop people?
I think intentionally find time with the people, and it's a daily process or daily activity.
Yes.
Maybe it's not a very formal meeting, but I find a daily time for everyone, my direct reports, and of course we have weekly meetings and monthly meetings.
That's absolutely fair. The last question: anything which you think is very unique about Mexico supply chain, or do you think is very unique to the region?
For the supply chain way to
related to because you are responsible for the Mexico and the Latin America, right? What I'm trying to say, you might think, this issue of supply chain is very unique to Mexico. It doesn't happen anywhere else. Do you think, or maybe the answer is no?
No, maybe I think the process in the supply chain is very standard, but the unique part is the culture.
Yes.
I would say the culture, and the times of transportation.
Yeah.
That changed between country and country. And here in Mexico, we have not very good the trucks and the roads.
Infrastructure is not that good.
Yeah.
All right, Ricardo, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for sharing your journey.
Man.
Thank you very much for sharing your experiences and the best practice as a leader. That I think the summary goes the same. That if you follow the basic, standard established policies, how you do the inventory optimization, run S&OP, find a balance between demand and supply. The end game is the same. You can improve your own on-time delivery. You can reduce inventory, reduce the lead time, better customer service level, better engagement, better development of the team, right? So this is what we talk about as 𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐿. That's the course we have developed. We have self-assessment and all that. We're actually trying to promote the same knowledge which just Ricardo talked about. So it's not super difficult. You have to be patient. I think S&OP takes time. It never happened before 12, 6 months or 8 months or 12. It takes more than 18 months to actually embed in the organization. So you have to be patient to see the results, right? And the leaders and the managers who are patient around enough, they will be fine, right? So thank you very much for sharing your journey. It's been a pleasure. I'm really enjoying the weather here, and hopefully we stay in touch. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So as always, like the channel, keep it simple and keep it real. Ciao.